deal. Um, let's go to the next, see what else we have. So the double standard exists, and this is one that it's funny because themes kind of change over time. And this is something that used to come up like a couple years ago a lot on Twitter, especially when it was much more sexualized, was the double standard exists. Men who pound 1,000 pussies value increases with each snatch he hammers. The girl who spreads her legs for 1,000 cocks value decreases with each dick drilling. This is the law of the sexual marketplace. I don't make the rules. Again, quite often when we're conveying, in some manner that a man who has had sex with a lot of women is high value, and a woman who has had a sex with a lot of men is low value, women will say, well, guys do it, or why aren't the same standards? Because it really does come down to a double standard. And a lot of guys use the lock analogy where, a lock that any key can open is a worthless lock. And that's a good point, is that for a girl to take all comers, it lowers her value. And girls tend to recognize that early on. Because you'll even talk to girls that are younger that are like, they have little rules in their head, and these are actually pretty smart, to keep the number of men that they're having sex with somewhat low. Again, what I try to convey in as many words as possible, girls have more sex with more men than It's much more common once you kind of get them talking, and you're the other guy quite often, and you're in this world, you become very aware that this, where like they say like 7 is the average that a girl has been with, or 7 men, and you realize that number is like blown out like before they get out of high school, when you really look at their pure numbers, because so many guys don't count. They'll always say 3. They'll say my high school boyfriend, my college boyfriend, and my first husband, or my first serious boyfriend. But the double standard does exist. So that's the real, you have to lock that down, that the man who pounds 1,000 pussies, the man who has a lot of action, his sexual marketplace value is going to increase. Because again, it's 3 things define an alpha: how many women are attracted to him, the quality of the women that are attracted to him, and how strong is that attraction to him. Those are the 3 qualifiers for what is alpha in the sexual marketplace. Again, it has nothing to do with his money. It has nothing to do with his car that he drives, or his accomplishments, or his bravery or lack of. It comes down to how many women, what quality the women are, and how strong is that attraction to him. And as that increases, his value increases. And you can't argue with it. It's like people buying something. You can't argue with the marketplace because they're going to buy it. So the girl who spreads her legs for 1,000 cocks, every guy that she's with lowers her value to most men. Again, these are very much generalizations, because there's, I don't know if there's many women. There's women that will always go, oh, if he's been with a bunch of women, he's ran through and all this other stuff. But generally, women, when they get around a high value man who's been with a lot of women, she becomes excited. She can't really help herself. It's really unconscious. And that's one of the reasons that I think with women, they hide it to the very best of their ability, is just like they know that should a guy get a whiff, an inclination, a suspicion that she's been with a lot of men, his attraction for her lowers just naturally. And this is all, the averages, because there's always groups, and there's always people that have kind of aged out of this. So there's a number of reasons that this may not apply as stringently, but generally under 40 and people looking for their first husband or wife, these are the rules. Things kind of change over time with more experience. But again, the double standard does exist. This guy will be conveyed as high value. This is one of the most popular pictures I've ever put up too. Sometimes I have a good morning picture. I try to put something up about men, masculinity, what we do, adventure. And this is one of the most popular ones, I guess, because you just don't see it. And he's not identifiable. I'm not sure who he is, but there you go. That's where you want to be. Lots of girls, and they go, oh, I wouldn't want to have to manage that many women. Actually, managing 3 to 5 is easier than managing one, because they'll tend to take care of the management themselves. Let me see what questions. If you have a question,